Hello, welcome to episode 9 of Daditude. I'm here with the great, the amazing, the hilarious Joko Green. We're gonna hear. Gosh dang it, Gabe. We're gonna tell you all about what it means to be a dad and get your lines correctly in the intro. How you doing, Joko?
Great. How about yourself?
I am not stumbling over my words anymore, and I haven't been drinking at lunch. So, contrary to what they're saying, but yeah, it's been a great one. I just got back yesterday from Viva Las Vegas, where I love to go all the time with my darling wife, my beautiful bride. We celebrated 27 years of marriage. I can't even believe it myself. We were just kids, man, when we got married. I was literally 18 and she was 20. So, yeah, she is older than me, by the way.
Oh, she will cradle robbing. Okay.
Yeah. She.
All right, Adrian. Dang.
Yeah, that's how it be.
She got her little tenderoni.
There you go. I give her crap about all the time she gets embarrassed. It's a wonderful time. We had a really nice time there. They're doing the F1 race down in Vegas, so the entire strip is a mess of traffic. So we stayed up at Fremont Street for the first time ever at the plaza, and it was a delight. I'd never stayed up at Fremont Street. I thought it was, lower class and like just kind of scummy. Turned out to be great to stay up there. It was really fun.
Yeah, Fremont Street's cool, and congratulations.
Yeah. Had a great dinner at Oscar's, named after the former mayor of Vegas, Oscar Goodman. They sell, on the ribeye, the best piece of meat, that little rib cap. There's the eye, there's the big round part, and then there's the rib cap. They sell just a steak that is just the rib cap. It seems so fall of the Roman Empire decadent to just eat that piece of the ribeye and take the rest away from me.
Throw the rest to the peasants.
Oh, yeah. I think they'll enjoy the rest of this ribeye. It was delicious. We had a great time. And we always drive out. We could fly, but we both really, since we've been young, got married, we've always done a lot of driving between. We live in San Diego and Vegas and Colorado. We do those drives a lot. We really just enjoy the drives and the nature and the talking and all that. So it's a wonderful, wonderful time. Anything interesting with you lately?
Not that interesting, but, just regular stuff, working, making content. Junior had his last soccer game last weekend.
All right.
So now we got to figure out what to do with our Saturdays. But no, it was cool. Took the family shooting. That was a lot of fun.
Cool.
I let the kids, after I was with them for a little bit, then I kind of let them do it themselves. Load it, chamber around, all that kind of stuff. I was working with my daughter on she was shooting a little 22 and it jammed. So it was a great opportunity to teach her how to clear a jam, drop the magazine, turn it upside down, rack the slide, all that stuff, all the things that I learned when I went to, I didn't learn everything at front sight, but clearing jams was one of the things we went over, one of the things I didn't really know a lot about. So it was a perfect opportunity to teach her. And normally it's my son, who's, of course, a little boy, guns. Dad, can I shoot it fast and all that kind of stuff. But my daughter, she really kind of enjoyed it more than anybody else. She was loving it. One rule: if you shoot it, you got to load the magazine. So they didn't have a problem with that. They loaded them up, and
Now, do you have the? I think the brand I have is the Uplula, that little thing that loads it for you.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, yeah.
You don't have one of those. Thumb them all in there.
If you don't have one of those, you're not doing it right. You definitely have to get a loader. Save you a bunch of time and calluses on your thumbs.
Right.
But it was a lot of fun to get out there and shoot with the kids and the wife.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, yeah, and that's the family unit, and that's our great segue here into something we were talking about right before we came on the air. A lot of people have seen, I haven't, believe it or not, as a comic book artist, I have not seen the Marvel movies. I've seen like 5 of them. People who watch me know I freaking hate those movies. I hate that. Looks like we got company. I hate. That's why I don't watch those movies. I can't stand the.
Well, they don't make them watchable, so it's hard to want to watch something that's not watchable.
But I feel like I'm the only person on earth that has not seen the Avengers. I don't know. Everyone saw Endgame, and this I just like zero interest.
No,
looks like pulling teeth to me. But we do know, and I know from reading comic books in the 90s, that's where this movie story came from, a comic book series called The Infinity Gauntlet and The Infinity War. These were, I think Jim Starlin wrote it, and Ron Lim, who I love, he was a great Silver Surfer artist. He illustrated these. But anyway, in it, Thanos, this villain who worships the goddess of death, he gets this magical superhero, superpowered glove, and if he snaps, he destroys half of all life in the universe because he worships death, and it's comic books, guys. What do you want? He's a bad guy with like very, very flimsy motivation in comics. But Jericho, before the show, to try and get back on track, you said, fine, feminists, fine, blue-haired weirdos. Thanos snap all men out of existence instantly. All men, just all men, gone. What does this world, let's go, what does this world look like, Jericho, with all men gone? What is the first hour, then the first day, and then, go through the time. Give us a timeline here, minute by minute.
Well, the first hour, they would realize no more pickle jars and spiders. No more pickle jars are getting open.
Right.
No jars of any kind, no peanut butter and jelly, no spaghetti sauce. No spiders are getting killed. So the spiders will reign supreme.
Oh, God, spider overlords.
The arachnids will reign supreme. And literally, pretty soon, I would think within a couple of weeks, animals are very smart. Sometimes evolution can happen very quickly. And I think the animals will learn that scent of testosterone is not in the air. We're not smelling so much gunpowder, out in the woods. So something's different. Their hairs will stand up on the back of their necks and they'll realize something is different. And I think there'll probably be a lot of wailing, almost telling the animals that something's not right. Like when they hear a dying animal or something like a squeak toy for your dog, that is meant to tap into that primal instinct that this thing is dying. That's why your dogs, it's cute and all that stuff, but they're doing that because that mimics the sound of something dying, and it taps into their canine DNA that says kill. So I think in the coming months, the population is going to shrink and it's going to move into a certain area because we keep the bad things at bay. We keep nature at bay. We keep things on. You're going to notice a lot of electricity grids.
Well, think about that. The people who run the electrical grid, the water, sanitation and all that, the trash men, all the dirty, ugly jobs. Mm-hmm. Feminists don't fight for equal representation at the bottom of the coal mine. I've always found that curious. What happens when there's no one cleaning the water, no one getting on the man lift 40 feet in the air, maybe being electrocuted to death, fixing the telephone and power poles? There aren't women doing that.
Nope. Flights would cease. A lot of things would stop. A lot of the things that we don't even think about, like you mentioned, water, garbage, things of that nature, rodent control, things like that. All of that's going to get out of hand because that's mostly, I'm not talking 60% men, 40% women, or 70%. No, I'm talking like 98, 99% men do these jobs, and they're going to go undone. So it's going to get cold. It's going to get dark. I don't know about you, but my wife if I'm not home, my house is lit up like a baseball stadium. All the lights are on in the hallway, in the room. My wife is she being thoughtless, or is she just a little bit of a chicken sometimes? Oh, she's a big time chicken. Yeah. Oh. I'm surprised I don't find feathers in the bed every morning. My wife's a big scaredy cat, right? So it's going to get dark and it's going to get cold. And what are you going to do? For all the women and girls whose dads and husbands didn't teach them how to shoot, what are you going to do? How are you going to eat? Who's going to start?
What you going to do, brother?
When the men, they leave you, brother. So who's going to slaughter these cows and chickens and pigs
Right.
and stuff, and who's going to take care of them, who's going to do the crops. And yeah, you'll see some Instagram video with some girls like, hey, I'm a farmer from North Carolina, and I like to hunt and shoot and do work on cars. That girl's like 1 in a million. So unless you can find her, cars are going to start breaking down. And, you know, fast forward a couple decades, you know, we're talking infrastructure damage. Things are going to fall and break and crumble. So
I think it was Camille LaPaglia, whatever. She's one of the first feminist like intellectuals.
Oh, Camille Paglia.
Is that how you say it? Okay.
Yeah.
And I saw, and she is anti-third wave feminist, anti-woke, anti-left wing. Actually, she's still a feminist, but she's a feminist from like the 50s, 60s school of feminism. And she has a quote saying, if women had run society, we'd still be living in mud huts. Like, quit acting like men don't do everything. Everything that's made is made, it's made by men and maintained by men. That's what we're for. That's how God made us. We believe me, that's what we like to do. There's a very general thing about male and female psychology that's observable and repeatable, already proven by science. In general, men like things, women like people. That's how it is. So
Nurses,
you see it
teachers.
in infants. You see it in infants and toddlers. Men like stuff and laser guns and building a cabin out of wood and making a hot rod. You ever notice there aren't women geniuses when it comes to doing stuff? There are women's geniuses socially. They know how to maneuver because women are interested in people and relationships. Men are interested in things, so they become Nikola Tesla. They become Benjamin Franklin, Elon Musk, Leonardo da Vinci. There are no female equivalents of that because women are not interested in doing what we do. Any of us that have a craft that we're amazing at, you go into the garage by yourself for hundreds, if not thousands of hours a year, and you work on it. Women have to be around other people. So they don't get these really like focused skills the way we do. You know, that's just, it goes against their nature. Are they capable? I think they're capable of it, but it's not in their
forced to be. I think if you they can learn, but it's innate. It's in men. I think of two friends of mine. They're gearheads. Every time a friend of mine named Dave, I just have so many memories of him. I go over to his house. He's in the garage, sitting Indian style on the floor, taking something apart. He always has grease on his fingers. My friend Leo, he's a mechanic. He went to mechanic school. He works on those big combines and stuff. These guys just have that want, that curiosity about stuff like that. And that's just not in women. You know, that's in us. That's why. And look at your background, all those skyscrapers, all those lights, all of that stuff, that's all men. And are women, do you see women climbing up, you know, to the top of the Golden Gate Bridge to change that red light bulb that keeps airplanes from crashing into it? No, you don't. You just don't see it. So we're very necessary, which makes it even more weird that they're trying to run us off.
Well, it all stems down to this. And this is not a female thing. This is a childish thing. You're not grateful when you're a kid. You really aren't. You're not as grateful as you should be. That grows with age and maturity. You really, when you work and bleed and sweat for things, you all of a sudden go, oh, wow, the adults in my life, the people, my parents, oh, look what they did. I mean, you see it if you're raised well. You see it when you're young, but you don't know till you know. And I think a problem with modern women is the last 56 years, it's been goddess mode, and that women are worshipped by weak men. And they are told from age 1, you know, age 0 till death, they're perfect Disney princess goddesses who can do no wrong, are responsible for nothing ever going wrong, and must always be placated to feel good and be happy at all times. So they have zero maturity. And then when you have no maturity, you have zero gratitude. And you're right. Look at the skyscrapers behind me. Literally all built by men, all maintained by men.
All those lights reflecting off the water, that's men doing that, replacing those bulbs, inventing those bulbs and connecting and the wires. Things just happen. When you go in your house, you flip the light switch on. The lights just come on. The water gets hot. You know,
nobody sat there and drew out plans and cut 2x4s and wired Romex and connected it to the panel. And nobody did that. It just happened on its own.
Yeah, it just sprouted like a plant out of the ground.
Go back from the construction. Go back from the construction of the house and the wiring too. Nobody got the copper out of the earth to make the wires.
Yeah.
Nobody got the rubber from the plants to make the rubber. Nobody went to college and chemistry to make the synthetic plastics that they use in electronics and home building. Like, no, men did all that. They did.
The silver and all like the motherboards and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, we do it gladly. This isn't us bitching and complaining. This is what we love to do. We love to. Men see the world. We can. I heard Dr. Drew, the great partner of Adam Carolla and all that on Loveline. He said one of the most major psychological differences between men and women. And again, neither of these is inferior, but you must admit there's a difference. Women can exist in a state of arousal. Men cannot. Once aroused, men need a conclusion. If I walk up to you, Jericho, if we walk in a room and there's a kitchen table with chairs and one of the chairs is on its side on the ground, what do you think instantly, Jericho?
I'll go pick it up.
Pick it up. You know what a woman can do? They can leave it on the ground and bitch and complain, and they can stay in the state of, I was aroused by this problem. Now let me talk about it for 5 hours. Men can't do it. That's a psychological difference. If we are aroused, we must satisfy the arousal. Women don't have to. And now let's take it to a silly metaphor. Think about sex, men and women. They can exist in a state of arousal. We don't like things turning blue.
No, we gotta dump that.
Yeah,
to the point where it's painful.
I need the punchline here.
It's painful. If a man is aroused without completion, blue balls is real. It is painful. You will be doubled over in stomach grabbing pain if you get blue balls. I
had a friend that got indigo balls once. Indigo balls, worse than blue.
yeah, those navy blue balls. Those are bad. No, that's true. That can be a physical issue for a man if he doesn't have that completion. And that example you gave with the chair on the ground, if there were a room full of men, like let's say it was a cocktail party kind of thing, there's couples in there, you would see the men talking, but they would be like looking at that. And eventually they would say, "Excuse me," and they would go pick it up. And it's just things have to be in order. There has to be balance, and things have to be right.
Even the imaginary chair that I've proposed, both of us have picked it up in our imaginations.
Yeah, like I walked straight in the room. And picked it up.
You pictured it, and you pictured yourself like, who the fuck left this here? And that's it's why we invent and accomplish and achieve and overcome things. It's our nature. It's like growing beards. We don't have to try. You know how the only thing I can do to my beard is prevent it. I can cut it off. If I do nothing, it comes on its own. So the motivation to go pick the chair up, to go into the coal mine, to clean the water, to catch the fish, to build the shelter, that's like the beard. That just comes with men naturally. That's just part of our nature. And it isn't part of a woman's nature. It isn't.
And you mentioned fishing. You talk about it. My brother-in-law, shout out to Casey. He's a commercial fisherman, like the biggest catch type dudes, the crab pots and all that kind of shit, salmon and crab, and doing all this fishing. There's no ladies out there. So all your lobster tails and shrimp, scampi, scallops, salmon, catfish, whatever you're into, halibut, octopus, calamari, kill it. There's no ladies out there on the ocean. There might be 3. There might be some Italian fishery, fishing village where some guy didn't have sons. And there's some lady over there doing it. I remember there was this tire shop in Salinas where I used to live, and a lady ran that, but she's the only one. Those are very few and far between. That's why you see.
Did she wear a plaid shirt and have short hair, something like that?
No. She was. She didn't play for that team. She actually had a kid, but she was very masculine in her mannerisms and the way she spoke. She had to adapt to that.
Look you right in the eyes.
Oh yeah. She had to adapt to that masculine world. But again, those ladies are very few and far between. That's why you see mostly female teachers, mostly female nurses. Yeah, you had some guy teachers and stuff growing up, but they were mostly women because that's what they're geared toward. But a world without men, that's a cold, dangerous, deadly place.
Right. And it will be over soon. Like if there are no men, they wouldn't be able to last. Men wouldn't be able to last without women because where are you going to get new people from? But they would definitely last longer,
Yeah, we would die. We would die of old age.
Yeah, they would die of old age. The women would die of like danger and disease, and
the women would be dead at 25, but we'll be dead at like 85, 90 because we can do it.
Just a bunch of indigo bald 90-year-olds, like, damn it.
Yeah. Come on. But
they get blue ball cranky. I don't know. You tell me.
Like, hey man, you need to go home early today. You need to go rub one out. Yeah, they would just be stiff gym socks all over the world, but we would still
nightmare.
We would still survive. And women, I think, you get these like you said, the blue-haired weirdos. Thankfully, in numbers, they're pretty few and far between. Do they have a loud voice right now and they're standing on top of a super high soapbox? Yeah. But I think most women are comfortable in their roles, and most women, the overwhelming majority of women, they don't want to live in a manless world, in a world without men, because they're not going to do it. They don't want to, because they're wired to do those feminine things. They don't want those jobs. They don't want to climb on the skyscrapers.
Well, let's take this here, and we'll close this episode out with this concept. Why did the difference, in your opinion, why did the differences between men and women get vilified? Where the idiot left-wing people say, if you're a woman, traditional womanly things are crappy and lowbrow, embarrassing and pathetic. If you're a man, masculinity is toxic. It's like our nature, the way God designed us to be, is rejected by these postmodern know-it-alls. I mean, I know why they do it, because they're hateful, but why do you think people fall for that? Because when we say, well, women can't do this, and I'm not criticizing, what they can do is amazing. I'm merely observing. Again, I'm not declaring it. I'm observing the difference, but the difference is amazing, because women are just as important to men, but different. But why do you think the average person just falls for this, that the traditional, natural, God-designed nature, the way of a woman or way of men is wrong and stupid? Why do people fall for that?
I think it's the N-word. Narcissism. I think it's.
I thought you were going to say
right?
ninja.
I juked you on that one. I think it's narcissism. I think it's selfishness. I think you have this group of people, this class of people who didn't get something that they wanted or something that they needed from their childhood, and now it's like a guy who was picked on and given swirlies in school, and now he's a cop. Now he has a gun and a badge, and now it's time to exercise his revenge. Now it's time to exact his revenge. And I think now that you have some of these people, a lot of these people in positions of authority, not so much in law enforcement, let's say academia, entertainment, the government. Now they're in a position where, and they're in a gang now. They got backup. They're surrounded by people who are like, that's right, get him. Hell yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to put this in the entertainment. We're going to do this in bad men and toxic masculinity, even though the very toxic masculinity you want to get rid of gave you the ability to stand up here with your half-shaved head and not have some man come up to you and take his leather sandal off and whoop your ass. It's funny. You're spitting in the face of the thing that gives you all of these freedoms. But I think they're all grown up now, and they're in the right positions, and it's time. I'll show you, Dad. I'll show you my conservative dad, my Christian dad, my dad who didn't let me do what I wanted to. I'll show you. When in reality, what they really want and need is a big old bear hug from that very same bad dad they don't like.
It's funny. You've nailed it, because as you know, and the audience, most of them know, I worked with the Hollywood companies forever, Disney and Warner Brothers, and it is filled with a bunch of leftists. The common thread for the social justice warrior blue hair types, father, that they're so hurt, and the hurt turns into anger at the concept of father. It's smash the patriarchy. The word pater, it means father in Latin. Patriarchy does not mean rule by men. It means rule by fathers. So to be a leftist is to hate your father. And because you're so upset because he was bad to you, or they were divorced and you never saw him, or something. But that's what you're totally right. And the reason this is all inconsistent and incoherent and incompetent is because it's childish, because they have arrested development. They are still an angry, scared 12-year-old, even though they're 47 years old, actually. But they're 12 right here because they haven't let that past go. They let the trauma, they let all that stuff rule their life. And it's sad, I'll close on this and you can have the last word, but I would say to anyone out there with all that trauma and all that, my middle name was incorrect from my parents. I didn't know that. And I put the name they told me on my college diploma, on this, on that. And I had to go through the step of spending money, going to court, putting an ad in the newspaper, declaring that I changed my name, changing my social security. I changed everything. Cost me like $400 or $500, cost me weeks of time. And my parents were the ones that screwed it up, but I had to fix it. Please think about that when you have trauma and bitterness against your mom and dad. Whatever happened, they did their best. They love you as much as they could. You have to fix it. There is no time machine. You're not going back to 9 years old and then dad will show up to the soccer game. It's gone. It's a tragedy. Let it go because it's only hurting you and then everyone around you now. And like I had to fix the mess they made with my middle name. It's fixed. I could have bitched and call my dad on the phone. You need to call Social Security. Yet legally, they wouldn't even let him change my name. I'm an adult. He's an adult. They wouldn't allow it. They'd tell me I need to do it. So I just did it. I didn't even talk to my mom or dad about it. I just did it. And everything's fine now legally, you know? So, yeah, your parents mess things up. Nobody's perfect. And when you become a parent yourself, you'll see you'll mess things up too. You know,
there's no manual for this shit.
All right. So that's my closing thought on that. What do you have for this, Jericho?
Just to kind of piggyback on what you were saying, if you have your parent, your mom or your dad, maybe both, maybe you can, they're still here, you know, they're still alive. Maybe you can sit them both down, but talk to them, tell them what you're feeling, tell them what you're still dealing with, because either way, you're going to walk away knowing something. Either they're going to blow your mind and tell you, I'm sorry, this is why this happened. And you're going to say, oh shit. Because there is no manual for this. People can tell you, oh, being a parent is A, B, and C. You don't know shit until you're in it. And they could tell you something to make you understand. And you're like, oh, shit, I didn't realize that. Or they're just going to reinforce what you already think. And you can start, building a brick wall over that chapter or moving on. But you get it off your chest. And just imagine, and sometimes things are complicated, but sometimes they're very simple. And just imagine if all of the people who are in these positions, who are pushing this woke nonsense, who are perverting everything and screw dad and tear down the patriarchy, imagine if they're at their boardroom and they got their business suit on with their shoulder pads and we're going to do this and take down, and we're going to write this episode and make the dad look like a jackass. Just imagine if their dad walked in the room, grabbed them and hugged them and said, I'm sorry. They would fall into a heap. They would be bawling and so many things would be healed. That void would be filled and things would change if only that could happen.
Right. Amazing. All right, guys, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the share, check out all the links in the description. We'll bring you more Daditude next time, but thank you for joining us, and make sure you subscribe to everything Jericho is doing too. He's got his own great channels now, and it's going to be awesome. We'll talk to you later, okay? Bye-bye.